To ensure that everyone is on the same page, it's the employer's responsibility to make sure that CDL drivers are trained. Training should include, but not be limited to, contact information of people assigned to answer questions about the program, employee drug and alcohol testing requirements, when and how employees will be tested, an explanation of what constitutes a refusal to test, the consequences of refusing a test, information on the effects of drugs and alcohol. Employers must also be trained on how to identify possible drug and alcohol use and reasonable suspicion. This training should include 1 hour each on recognizing signs of drug use and 1 hour on recognizing signs of alcohol use, with documentation of the training is required. Even with all the training and education provided, sometimes rules are violated. So, what do you as the supervisor do if an employee tests positive, refuses a test, or violates a DOT agency drug testing regulation? First, the employee should immediately be removed from any safety-sensitive functions and be given a list of qualified substance abuse professionals. What happens may be up to you. Under DOT regulations, employees may not return to work until they complete the return to duty process, which includes meeting with a substance abuse professional for evaluation, referral, and a re-evaluation that includes whether or not the employee completed treatment or education and the follow-up testing procedures. However, termination or outside treatment options are left up to the discretion of the employer. Record keeping is another important aspect of DOT's drug and alcohol testing process. Comprehensive records related to your testing program must be kept and be readily available for inspection or audit if requested. At a minimum, records of alcohol results greater than .02, verified positive drug test results, documentation of refusals, Annual Management Information System or MIS reports, substance abuse professional reports, and all follow-up tests and schedules must be kept for 5 years. Information obtained from previous employers regarding drug and alcohol test results for employees need to be kept for 3 years. In addition, inspection, maintenance, and calibration records for testing equipment, records related to the collection process, and supervisor and employee training records should be kept for 2 years. Finally, records of negative or canceled drug tests and alcohol test results less than .02 need to be kept for 1 year. Records need to be in a locked and secure location or password protected if kept electronically. The DOT provides specific responsibilities for employers when it comes to drug and alcohol testing of CDL employees. First, the management of testing lies with the employer. This means employers are responsible for the actions of their employees and any other representatives concerning drug and alcohol testing. Employers have the right to use any outside agency they want to collect samples, perform analysis, and determine the outcomes of the testing, but they are still responsible for the requirements and procedures. For example, if a lab fails to follow the correct process or a result is incorrectly reported, the responsibility falls on the employer as they're ultimately responsible for complying with regulations. Failure to do so could result in civil penalties. Periodically, DOT may inspect or audit your drug and alcohol testing program for strengths and weaknesses. During the audit, they will determine if your program complies with testing regulations, whether or not the employer is following DOT company policies, how correctly do your service agents carry out their responsibilities, whether or not training was provided appropriately, whether employees were removed from duty following violations, and whether or not service agents have maintained adequate documentation. It's important for employers to understand the DOT regulations and company policies and procedures, and to make sure the employees are also aware of them. It's ultimately their responsibility to keep everyone safe.